Welcome to the Journey
That's a
2020.
nice
I'm
song.
Charles Morris, happy to be with you, where we come to you every Monday at 7 p.m. at www.thejourney2020.com. We're also live on Twitter and Periscope, so we all over social media. So we ask that you subscribe to us on YouTube, like us on Facebook. And so we're a very informative show. We've been around since 2013. As my co-host used to say, the journey is from me to you and from you to me so we can reach a higher level. And I hope that you had a very happy Thanksgiving and that you're enjoying holiday season. And as you know, the third Monday of every month, we come to you with Kathy Meeks. She is from Robinson and Associates. She is our sex therapist, and so we have a lot of fun with her, take a lot of questions, and we try to deal with our own little dysfunction that we don't know that we're dysfunctional because we just in our own little madness. So we try to make things a little bit better for you, and so that's why she feels, and I think that it's a very important show. As you know, we love the terms when it comes to relationship and sex. There's nothing like more of a stimulating conversation than talking about our intimacy when it comes to all of that. So you make sure that you tune in. You can go into the archives and check out some of the shows. You might learn something. You might be surprised. But also, I think on the fourth Monday of every month, I think is one of the most important shows that we do. And talking about how important it is when it comes to some of the red tape and some of the problems and the issues when it comes to relationships and how families are broken up and all these other things. But I've also seen it for myself for men who are trying to establish a foundation of a relationship, not only with the mother, but more importantly with their children. So we have Haki T Nkrumah who comes on to talk about child support, give us some pointers, some of the things that get past the red tape. But before we get to that, I want to remind you that also every Wednesday, you can tune in to Youth Central Sports. And I have the original Coach Carter now, who we come to you and we talk about some of everything when it pertains to sports. And I look at sports as a way of which we try to use it as mentoring and how important it is, but also making sure that your child is in the right environment because it can make a difference. And with that being said, I have to bring on who I call the man who has more passion than I can ever describe. I don't have words in my vocabulary to talk about what this man has that God gave him, and that is, what's up, Frat? How you doing?
How you doing, brother? Good to hear from you. Good to see you.
How was your Thanksgiving?
It was the Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving is more about the food than the origin, but we won't get into a lot of that.
Okay, well
But it's about the
then I
food
know what
and
you was
the,
doing.
and the fellowship.
Well, well, listen, because I was out of town. Well, first of all, for those who don't know you, because we have to do it every time, okay, we have to let the people know who you are. And so you're
Mhm.
with Young Fathers of Central Florida. So you're going to have to briefly
Yes.
describe and tell us what Young Fathers of Central Florida is. You have to tell us real quick.
Well, I'm the founder and president of Young Fathers of Florida. We're a nonprofit 501c3 organization that provides services, programming to fathers, but we particularly specialize in fathers between the age of 14 and 24. We do dad-to-dad mentoring program where we match an older father with a younger father for a 1-year commitment. We do father support groups, parent training. We have the entire family can participate, the mom, dad, grandparents, who's ever in the child's life. We invite them to take part in our parent training programs. We have programs with City of Orlando Recreation Center system. We have a program that's geared for young fathers in a correctional facility, as well as at the college level. We started there with the program at Bethune-Cookman University, working with young fathers there. Then we have a prevention program for 10 to 13-year-old boys called Gents to Gentlemen. And we most recently started the program with Orange County their Citizen Commission for Children, a small scale grant that we work with up to 25 fathers directly doing group case management. So we just started that in October, and that goes for a year. So we're very grateful and appreciative to get the grant with Orange County, small scale citizen review, because it gives us opportunity to work with fathers throughout the year. And this particular program is not just for young fathers, but it's for all fathers. So we have fathers of different ages, but we're not planning to go over the age of 35. But we may have a couple fathers 40, depending on the need. But the program is not just for young fathers, but it's one of our new initiatives that we're looking forward and excited about.
Good. Very, very, very important programs that you have that is making a difference. I've seen it for myself. Now, unfortunately for myself, I was not able to be at your last event. Why don't you tell us what that was about? I think it was last week. What was the event you had last week?
Yeah, we partner with Elite Catering and a few other agencies to provide a dinner for single parents and youth, dispatched youth. It was a pretty good turnout. It was at Camp Ethel in Ocoee, and we had a bounce house for kids. We had activities and games, and we had a full course meal for them. We had a good time. It was very positive. It was free to the entire community, so anyone was able to come out, and we had a pretty good turnout.
Okay, now I think you have four. I mean, I could be wrong, but you have four major events. Now, it could be, but I'm thinking of at least four, right? A year.
Yeah, we have our conference, our National Teen and Young Fatherhood Conference. That's our largest event of the year. That's in February of each year, the last 2 weekdays of the month. So it's the exact same time, 2019. It'll be Thursday and Friday, February 24th and 22nd. And then in June, we hold our Father's Week, which is 7-day activities leading up to Father's Day. The same time every year leading up to Father's Day is 7 days. And then we have a recognition luncheon where we recognize young fathers and community agencies who support young fathers and their family. We have that event every September. That fluctuates the actual day. And then we have our end of year campaign, which is not just one event, but it starts with Giving Tuesday, like tomorrow, for example, September 27th. If you don't know, Giving Tuesday is a national day of giving. And on that particular day, people give to whatever nonprofit that they give to. It started years ago in 2012 in New York City. Now it has spread. So we give that event every year. Tomorrow is the 27th. It's usually held the Tuesday right after Thanksgiving every year. So that Tuesday, I think that's right after Cyber Monday or something. But it's that Tuesday, and people can feel free to give donations to whatever charity that they choose to give it to. Hope that they will give our organization a look, because most of these funds usually go to large national organizations. But small organizations like ours can receive donations. So those are the big events. And most people usually give donations the last quarter of the year, because a lot of people want a tax deduction, just to be real about it. But those are our events. So we're preparing now. Tomorrow is Giving Tuesday. And then after that, we'll start going really hard for our national conference in February.
Okay. I wanted to ask you, because there was couple of things that you want to talk about in particular, but there's a well-known, well, I can't say that it's a myth, but there are a lot of people of color that consider deadbeat dads. And there are some deadbeat dads, and we all know that. But you also, and I've been in the meetings, and there are a lot of fathers out there that for whatever reason, the situation, and I'm pretty sure that you can write a book on numerous situations and circumstances where people
I
are not
have written
together and
books.
babies have been brought into the world. But despite the myth, okay, there's a lot of young men, fathers in general, fighting and want to be part of their kids' lives, despite the myth. And it's in all walks of life. And I've seen it because you could be in your meeting and you could sometimes see the tears in those fathers' eyes for what they're going through, just trying to, and each one is different. But the bottom line is that they're struggling for whatever reason, for whatever area in their lives, that they want to be part of their child's life. And I know that there's stories to be told, but the the myth is that a lot of these people of color, or men in general, that they don't want to be, they don't care about the child, they don't care about the relationship, they hustling to do their thing. But I know that you know that that's different. There are a lot of men out there that's trying to do the right thing. They may start out over here, even with your program, helping them to grow. But sometimes when you're doing what you're doing, and I'll say it in a way that you will understand, sometimes they force into a role. Because when they start out, the intent was not to be a father. The intent was to do my thing, and then all of a sudden they're hit with the reality, I'm now a father. So some of them handle it very well, but some of them don't know how to handle it for the mere reason that they're just immature and they're not ready to be a father. That doesn't mean that they're a deadbeat dad. They just may not be mature enough in that area to know how to deal with what's in front of them. Now, I just said a lot, and you can kind of answer that however you want. But my point that I was trying to make is you deal with a lot of men trying to do the right thing, even if it seems to be in the wrong situation.
And Charles, the way you answer your questions, man, it's like you gave me so much. It's
Right.
like that's like 20 questions in one, and they all hard questions. So it's like you do that all the time. But let me just try to backtrack what you said. First of all, the term deadbeat dad is that term is one that I don't use, I never use, and when I talk about it with people, I always like to qualify and ask them what do they mean when they say deadbeat dad. Anyone, I don't care who it is. It can be a PhD professor, or it can be a social worker. It can be anyone. I always ask them what does that mean, because too often people associate that term deadbeat dad with financial, that he's not financially taking care of his child. So I like to ask them the question, what do they call a mom who prevents their son or daughter, their child, father from seeing them just because he has a new girlfriend? Is that a deadbeat mom? What is it when a father doesn't spend quality time with his child and whether hang with his friends? Is that deadbeat? So too often people associate deadbeat with finance. When fathers, they proclaim, I'm not a deadbeat dad, I pay my child support, because he's associated deadbeat dad with finances also. So he feels as long as he pays her some money, give her money, that's fine. He might not spend any time with that child, but he proclaims, I'm not a deadbeat dad. I pay child support. So I ask people, what do they mean when they say that? Because deadbeat dad, deadbeat mom, it's all the same in a sense where, you're being neglectful, whether it's financing, whether it's time, no matter what it is that's preventing that child from having a healthy environment, That's neglectful. Even fathers, for example, that don't take care of themselves, don't take care of their health. They're out there getting high every day, drinking and smoking. That's not putting yourself in a position to be the best father you can be. You're not spending the quality time because you have high. So it's like deadbeat can just go so far. So when people talk about deadbeat, I don't even use the term deadbeat anymore because it's just basically talking about neglect. And I don't want fathers to think that if they just paying child support that they're not being a deadbeat, or if they're being abusive to their family, that's not being a deadbeat. You got some fathers, the first thing they say, yeah, well, I beat on you, but I put food on the table, or I do this, or I do that, I pay the bills.
Wow.
That's not what associates being a good father. So deadbeat dads, whenever anyone use the term deadbeat dad, I stop them right there and ask them, what do they mean? So it'll equip me for the conversation further, like where direction we should go. So if you coming straight at it from a financial standpoint, then I know that's where you're coming from. If you coming from a neglect standpoint, that's where I'm gonna understand. I'm gonna understand that's where you're going with it. Because as you mentioned earlier, a lot of the guys, a lot of these young men, they're in a situation where they don't have a job. They try to get a job. They can't get a job. And they use that, okay, well, I tried and I can't get it. And they think that no, I'm not a deadbeat dad anymore. But I tell them all the time that you need to look at your situation and see what it is you're doing. And then you have some fathers who might not have the best job, but they working 2 or 3 jobs. They might not be good ones, but they working them. They try to spend as much time with their children as possible. They're not, so are they deadbeat too, just because they might be and have back child support? Does that mean that? So what do people mean when they say deadbeat? So I just wanted to address that since you mentioned that. But a lot of young men think they're deadbeats when they're not deadbeats because society tell them they're deadbeats if they're not doing a certain thing. And then some think that they're not deadbeats when they are deadbeats. And just like a deadbeat mom, when we see, it's just like I don't know if you ever seen the YouTube video where the woman berates the husband because he took his child to get a haircut, and she goes off on him. Now everybody's mad with this woman. The women mad with her, the men mad with her, but none of them will call her a deadbeat. But that's what being a deadbeat is.
Right.
You're causing problems in that child's life. The children crying, they upset just because you're trying to get back at him and telling him he don't have the right to give his child a haircut. So will they call her a deadbeat? So, whether they're men or women, is deadbeat dad, deadbeat mom, that's just irresponsible people.
Right. Well, again,
You look like you're thinking there. You look like you're thinking about that one.
no, 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 no. That was easy. That was easy. That
You
was
got
that
that
was easy.
serious look
No,
on your face.
what I was getting ready to say was there's so many levels of of
Yep.
of of dysfunction. Just so many
Yes.
levels. And
Mm-hmm.
what I find is because we are a society that is money driven. Everything
Mm-hmm.
your money is your God. Your rules are your money. It's money, money, money. And 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 I ask you how difficult or how hard it is to get a father, even the mother, to understand that, let's just say, the father don't have the money that they think they should have, or that he feels that he should have, but get him to understand that he need to love the child, be there for the child, and for the and later on in life, because I've heard of stories where the father has given, I guess, the custody of the rights to someone else that maybe the mother was dating or seeing, simply because they had more money. So the measurement is on the money, not the relationship, not on what you need to do to be involved in the child's life, to teach the child right and wrong, how to teach the child what life is about. So it goes back to the mentality is everything is materialistic. Your value system is materialistic, because even so, you may grow up with not a lot of things, but as you grow on in life and you mature, the value system in which has been instated in you, which has been put in you, you look back on it and you carry it with you, because now you understand about life and the struggles your parents may have had. But you say, you know what? I know my father was there. I know my father loved me. I know my father did the best that they can. And so when the child becomes older, then they can start to appreciate what the father is and how he really was there. And am I making sense?
Yeah, yeah. But you said a couple things. You said one that he needs to love the child, right? He don't need to love the child. He don't need to love the child, because at some point we would hope he would. But just like I mention all the time, just like I mention all the time to young women who ask me, why doesn't he love me and me and the child? I said, because you met him on Friday, had sex with him on Saturday, and got pregnant, and you don't even know the young man's name. So the reason he don't love you, because he don't know you. He don't know you, and the reason he don't love the child, because he don't know the child. He know nothing about the child. Most of these young men don't even know themselves. That's why they running around having sex with many women, as young women as they can, and they don't know their names. So it's like, when and then when you tell a young man he needs to love this child, he's confused. He's confused, because he don't know what love is, first of all, and then he definitely don't know why he should love that child. Now, we could say morally that, oh, he should love his child. That's his child. But half of these boys don't even know if this is their child.
Well,
and so,
actually,
and before, go ahead.
no. Actually, Keem, actually, know what we're talking about? Two different things, though. We're talking about two different things.
All right. Because I heard you say that he needs to love the child.
No. What I'm saying is, I wasn't talking about that scenario. I was talking about the scenario of the father who realized that he is a father, but his mentality is that because I don't have the money that he thinks that he should have, therefore I should give my rights to this, or I shouldn't be there. That's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about him. I'm not talking about I'm talking in general of a father.
You know what? Talking about the one that questioned it.
Right.
Yeah. You talking about the one that realized that's his child, but he feels inadequate because he's not financially able to do it. And you're absolutely right. And too often it's the mother that's allowing this to happen. It's the mother can control a lot of that. The young mother can either let him know that, look, I know you don't have a job right now. We ain't even together now, but we're gonna try to do this together. We're gonna try to raise this child together. So that's what we do when we do our co-parenting classes. That's some of the things that we discuss in our co-parenting classes, how to financially feel adequate to raising a child, because we know it's very, very expensive. But the mother can control that a lot. Just like I said, she can either like, you ain't got no damn job, you ain't never gonna be nothing, you broke, you ain't got any money. He don't want to be around that situation because he already feel inadequate. And just like you was mentioning earlier about the materialism of it, I mean, it's just that the one time of the year, because people often ask me, oh, you getting ready to go on vacation because it's the holiday season. That's the season I have to work the most. That's when there's the most suicides. That's when there's the most robbery. That's when most crime, all associated around holiday seasons, especially Christmas. So, all that's for the parents. Materialism is for parents. That ain't for children. Children, unless you raise them to where they just totally spoiled and they think they can get 100 gifts. But, I was raised with one gift. I don't think I came out, destroyed because I had a gift. That's materialism. Buying these kids clothes, they're gonna grow out of in a couple days. It seems like a couple days faster they grow. But all that materialism is for us. So these young fathers should never feel inadequate, about what they have financially, but they do have to understand that they have to do all that they can to support this child financially. They have to do everything they can. And that's like I was mentioning earlier, when a young mom tell them, look, I understand, that you tried to go for interviews. We've had several young fathers. Every time they went in for an interview, they made sure the mom knew when they was going, what happened at the interview, and the young mother didn't care for him too much, but these young women saw that these young men were trying. They were doing everything they can. And then sometimes they had to accept jobs that didn't pay well, but it was money. It was something that was coming in. So the fathers have to realize that their adequacy is not determined by how much money they have. And it's a hard thing to do because, as you mentioned, society just, it tells us every day, you need money. If you don't have this money, X amount of money, then you're not an adequate father.
Right.
So that's why fathers have to do, as much as they can do without the money. Like, if the baby mother needs to, go to work or go to school or go somewhere, and you're not doing anything, take care of your child. Babysit for the child. Don't pay someone else to try to do that, or don't put it on Big Mama. You do it. You're spending time with your child. You're allowing the mother to do other things that she needs to do. She shouldn't have to drag you to help her do the normal daily things that she has to do as a mom, because that's very, very difficult. So that's what we teach our young fathers they have to be involved and engaged. They, the mother shouldn't be strapped with doing everything, trying to get money into the house. Going out in the community and find programs that help you, that gives you job training. So if you there's no reason you should be sitting on your butt playing no damn video games. I mean, you shouldn't even know what's on TV. You shouldn't even know nothing about when they start talking about what happened on Empire. You shouldn't know. I don't know. I ain't watched no TV in ages because I'm out working while Empire is on.
Because
sit up there and tell me every episode, every SWAT, every show, they're gonna tell you every episode. And if they give you any talk about what goes on during the day TV, that's irresponsible. That's where that deadbeat comes in. That's where those terms that people use relates to those individuals, that act like that and do those.
No.
So I don't know if that answers your question. But.
All right. Let me ask you this right here real quick, and you probably can answer this real quick. Knowing all the different circumstances and different personalities and situations that you've been involved in, what is one of your, when you think about it, it comes to mind, one of your success stories? And what I mean by that is a young man who came in kind of blind in his ways, but his spirit was right. May had a little bit of attitude, but now something has happened that he realized he's a father. He may have started out this way, but now you have a success story that he's now did like a 180. You got one of those stories?
Yeah, there's lots of them. I just got off the phone with the young man who I met in Cookman College. Matter of fact, several of them that I met there. I still keep in contact, and we started that in 2013. One young man was getting ready to drop out. He hated the baby mother, hated, being a father. He thought it just derailed his life because his life was pretty easy up to that. Good high school, good grades, went to college, lover boy, coming up, all the women, got pregnant, then everything crashed down. Parents got on him. Everybody got on him. So he hated being a father. He was told his life was over.
Oh, wow.
So he threatened the mother to get an abortion. She didn't want to get an abortion. Um, it was just crazy. It was, but he was saying that because of other people telling him that. So, dropped out, and somehow, I think it was Dr. Kodak McFadden told him about me from Bethune-Cookman. And next thing you know, make a long story quick, he got back into school, start dealing with the baby's mother, start accepting the fact that he had a child, because he was denying it. They ain't my child. I said, well, we gonna get a test. You're gonna get a test. So, and the girl wasn't the type to sleep around with a lot of guys, so she knew it was his, and he ended up graduating, and now he's in grad school.
Hold on. Let me, because I asked you to answer it quickly, but I'm missing something here. I'm missing something, because in between the denial and the acceptance, I'm missing something. Because a light had to come on
You
somewhere.
said be quick, bro. So I said make it quick, make a short story quick. You said make it quick. So you want me to get into which part?
But I need to hear what made the light come on, Haki. That's what I need. I need to hear what made the light come on, because it sounds like he was immature, but his spirit was right. But his spirit was right.
I think because he had a good life. He was doing good. I think what clicked on with him was when he met a younger father, much younger than he was. And this young man we always call him the old man. He was the old 15-year-old father. He was a 30-year-old father, because he was mature. Look, I made this decision to do this. This is a 15-year-old father. I made this decision, he said. And he was like, I didn't have much in my life. I didn't have nothing. So he was laying out his life. Everybody in that place was listening. Just like the groups you sat in, he sat down in that group. And I think that this young man really took to him, and he said to himself, damn, I'm acting like a big old baby up here about this. I'm letting other people control my thinking. And this boy, 15 years old. And so I think he was able to help them. And that's why I always like when the older guys get in with the younger, and it's a mixture, so they can hear each other and not just always hear me. Because I wasn't a 15-year-old father, but this young man was. So he was able to listen to him, and he was able to kind of put something in his, if it's in his head or if it's in his heart somewhere, but he kind of helped them to just understand that this is your responsibility now. This is something that you have to deal with. And even the way the young man was talking about how he was dealing with the baby mama, he was like, man, I had sex with her 2 times. She ended up getting pregnant. So he said he had to get to know her. So this 15-year-old boy was working with not just him, but a lot of people. But if you wanted me to answer that question, what was that defining moment for him, or what caused him to really click? I think it was the words and actions of a young man that was much younger, and it had no kind of resources that he had growing up. But this young man was doing this. He was even homeless at a point in time.
Wow.
So here you looking at this homeless young boy who didn't have a pot to piss in, barely was able to go to school, and he was talking to him like, man, look, this is my life. This is what he was just happy that he was alive.
Right.
So he was saying that I'm not gonna let my son go through what I went through. So I think that he kind of like clicked with a lot of the young men. And so to answer that quickly, I think that was the case. But there's a lot of cases, Chuck. There's times where I've seen guys that they were so irresponsible but they wanted to do the right thing, and some of them just by seeing their child for the first time changed them, just changed them. Like, because there's times, unfortunately, that and there's a guy right now we have working with us, and he didn't even know his child was born. They, his girl, because the mothers hated him, the girl mother hated him, so they didn't let him know when she was due, when the baby was born. He didn't see the baby till like months after. So there's just a lot of situation, unfortunately, that's like that once these guys see these children and they can hold them, it's just like me when I had my first child. I mean, and I was grown, but when I saw my son's eyes, that was it. As soon as I looked at his eyes, I said, Dad, this is real. I knew right then when I looked at his eyes and he looked up at me, I was like, this is real now. This is real. So that's what happens with a lot of these guys, Chuck. When they the light comes on with a lot of these guys when they actually see their children, because it's not like we all think that, like we think, these guys going to Lamar's classes, they going to these little classes with the baby mama. They ain't doing all that. A lot of them see their kids weeks and months after the child is born. So a lot of these guys are irresponsible too. It's something what we call significant emotional events in the field of psychology. Significant emotional event. That's when something significant happened in these guys' life. And that's what happens often when they see their child or something happen. Their child gets sick, and unfortunately we had cases where the young father never got to see his child.
Oh,
so
wow. Now
that's happened.
Right. Well, that's part of my question I want to ask, because it leads up to a couple of questions. And over the years, I've had a couple of girlfriends who have shared with me going through a divorce. And they were explaining to me that they had a good relationship with the ex-husband. So they just decided to get a divorce. Whatever differences that they may have had, they settled it. But I've had a couple of women tell me that when they went to the courts was just trying to say, you don't want anything? That means that's it, you just want a divorce? They say, yeah. And I've even had one to tell me that one of the lawyers was just trying to force her to ask for stuff. And so I know that there are a lot of men out there that feels that the system is really against them, especially when it comes to, they think that when it comes to the child, that the mother has all of the rights and that they have no rights. How difficult is it to get them to understand that they have rights too?
Well, and the reality is a lot of them don't have rights, especially if they're not married.
Okay.
If you're not married, if you're not married in the state of Florida, in a lot of places, you have fewer rights than if you were married. That's why it's not always so difficult for guys to establish their paternal rights. But as far as the lawyers in the court trying to get the mothers to get things, the only thing I'll say about that is that, when I meet young women, young moms who don't want any child support because they don't want to deal with the baby father, I tell them all the time, it's really not that's not up to them to decide, if they're gonna, try to get child support or financial help. Getting a child support order is one thing, but the father is responsible to to support financially, whether the mother likes it or not, because it's that child. I mean, she might be feeding the child peanut butter jelly sandwich and soda when she can be feeding the child, a healthy diet and keeping the child healthy, but she can't afford it because she don't want to see the baby's father. So oftentimes, is I tell young women, it's not up to you. If he's not giving you financial support voluntarily, he should be on child support. And also, unfortunately, getting a child support order is a way of establishing your paternity as well. So I've suggested certain fathers, that might be the route that they need. Any type of order you get from the state, visitation orders, child support orders, a lot of that goes to helping you establish your paternal rights. Getting your DNA and all that, and being on the birth certificate, all that's good. But establishing your paternal rights is very important. And the system is not always fair to men, but I often tell men, you need to work something out with your child's mother in terms of your financial support. You have to do that. And Chuck, I'm gonna tell you, a lot of women I've worked with, if the father comes to them, if they don't have some old crazy relationship hatred, if they don't, some of them have some stuff way beyond us. They trying to kill each other, they ain't got nothing to do with the baby. They just hate, we can't deal with all that, because we just not equipped to do that. Setting fire on each other and all that, we just can't equip ourselves to deal with that. So what I tell fathers though is that for most mothers, it's not like that. It's that craziness is not like that. But they need to work out something, because I have many mothers that don't prefer taking their father for child support, putting them on child support. I got some right now that they need to put their baby's daddy on child support. They've given them 3-4 years, and some of these guys are working, they doing things, and they giving the mother dribble drabs of money. That's not acceptable. So a lot of these fathers just have to understand that they have to try to work something out with these mothers as far as child support is concerned. But as far as the rights, a lot of fathers, Chuck, don't have a lot of rights, especially if they're not married. They have to do a lot more fighting. And a lot of these fathers don't want to fight. They don't want to, most of these guys don't even want to go to the courthouse for nothing. So, I don't know, some of them got in their head that the courthouse is against them. And but they just got to understand that they do have rights as a parent, but they have to, they have to fight. They can always ask for mediation. They can always use the court for their advantage. They just have to stop running from the court. They can use the court, but if you use the court, you have to be prepared to do what you're supposed to do. And you can't come with the bull crap. You know what I mean? You got an income tax check for $1,000, but you want to get a baby mama $20.
Well, one of the things that I would like to do, not necessarily on this show, but we would like to be able to talk about just that, what you just mentioned, mediation and what
I
that.
can bring a young father on. If you want to talk about child support. A lot of them don't like to talk about their child support issues, but some of them do, because they're doing everything they can, and they still not getting help.
Right. No.
So, but
What?
what's the last part you said about the?
But what I was going to ask you was, even over the years, I've run into friends, girlfriends, girls that are friends, and they're sitting and they're talking about this situation, especially when they're talking about the father of the child, and they're talking about the relationship, and they just say, well, you know what, I don't want him, I'm not even trying to go after child support because I don't want to be bothered with him. I just don't want to be bothered with him. And sometimes I look at them and we have the conversation, I'm saying, well, it's really not about you.
That's
I
that's
mean,
right. And
so some of them get it, okay, and some of them don't because some of them are so frustrated with the relationship itself that I guess the mental
right.
part of the fighting and whatever else happened, that they just say, and then what really gets me is this right here. Say, well, I don't need this money. I said, that's not it. That's not why you should be asking
Yep.
for child support. That's not it.
All
And
of them
then,
don't get it. They don't get it. They don't get it. Just you hit it right on the head. It's just about them. It is not about them. And they don't want to hear that. But the thing is that when I do mediation, because I'm a family mediator, I always have them, ask them if they have a picture of the child, of their child. I take out that picture and I put it in the middle of the table. And I said, okay, let's understand this, who we're talking about and why we're here. We're not here because either one of you. We're here because that young person right here in that picture. So when we talk, I want you guys to look at it. When you start talking about yourself, look at this picture. So a lot of these women are financially secure where they don't necessarily need the child money. But I don't care if what he gives you, you get it savings bonds, or you put it in the bank, put it in the bank with that child. I don't care what it is, but he's supposed to be financially responsible for this child, just like you. And a lot of times they don't want their money because they think that give them full control, that give them all the control. And well, I'm not taking your money, so you don't got nothing to say. That's where they, once again, they're discounting their child. They're trying to take the child out of the picture because I don't care, what the daddy doing. He's financially responsible just like she is. He can't get off the hook just because you don't want to deal with him or you want all the control and tell him that he can't see the child because he's not giving you money or whatever. It's not about them. And it's sad when mothers, and a lot of times it's the most educated ones, the ones that's educated and have money, and they think that that's what they can do. They disillusioned. They think that
right, right.
I can do this, but no,
Now,
you can't.
now,
You can't, and you shouldn't,
now,
unless he's a threat to your child. Unless he's a threat, unless there's some type of evidence that says that he's abusive, there's a threat. That's a whole nother story. When
right,
there's trauma involved, that's a whole nother story. Like I said, we're not dealing with that. We're dealing with the majority, the 80%, 85%, not the 10 to 15%. We're dealing with the 85%. That's why I don't try to save everyone. I don't try to, I have fathers that, don't want to be bothered at all. All right,
right.
keep it moving. Get the hell out of this lane. Because we only want people in this lane who trying to do well. But that's all we have resources for. I ain't got no resources to chasing down Rico Suave. I ain't got no resources to chasing down these guys that, don't want to be involved, and their mind is so twisted that they don't even care anything about these kids. They know that's theirs.
Yeah,
So the
yeah,
twisted mind of a deadbeat is not my my work.
right.
That's
And
not
that
what my
leads up
work
to
is.
my next
That's
question.
another group of people.
Yeah, yeah, that leads up to my next question, which goes back because I've seen it, and I'm not going to get into it, but my brother's first child, he denied his first child, and my brother, he has 5 kids, but I've always admired him as a father. I've always admired him as a father, but for some odd reason, his first child, because he told me it wasn't his. Well, come to find out, it was his child, and I won't get into that. But the, the state was looking for him because he used to live with me, and the letters would always come to me, and they would ask me, "Do you know where he is?" I'd be like, "Yeah, he right over there." But my point that I'm trying to make was, my point that I'm trying to make is he tried, eventually he went and accepted it and took on the responsibility of what he was supposed to, but it was years later. But the point of it is that when they did catch up with him, he was $25,000 in back payment. Now, he paid it, but my point of it is that you can run, but you can't hide. Do you ever
That's
try to
right.
stress that to him?
Right about that. You're right about that. Like I tell guys all the time, there's no need of running because and just like the IRS, you can owe back taxes and they don't even call you. They don't even send you. They might send you one little letter in a year. And they just let those fines just pile up, fines, penalties, and next thing you know, you have $500 back taxes, but now you owe $5,000 because you didn't get back to them. Same thing with child support. Sometimes these guys think they got away with something. They like, yeah, I ain't hear nothing from child support. Then they start spending their little money, living good. Next thing you know, they come to you, Ms. Haki, you got to help me out. Oh, $20,000 back child support. I said, I ain't got nothing for you, bro. I ain't got nothing for you. You should have came when you knew you should have come. But now, you out there. You in some of them 50, 60, $70,000. And the sad thing about it is, Chuck, when you 35 years old, that means you got a lot of years to work. And there's a lot of income tax you're not gonna see, a lot of garnished checks you're going to see. It's like your life will never be the same financially. Never.
Yeah, because I
Once
mean,
you
I
have
can
that child,
imagine.
it's financially responsible from that point on.
Right, right,
Period.
because
And then
that's
you have
it.
2 and 3 children, and your life financially will never be the same.
And the thing is that you can't get them to understand that when they're younger, and even I've heard even from some of my friends over the years that, and I can't phantom the ducking and the dodging when you're 35, 40 years old, and you purposely trying not to maintain a regular job because you're dodging your child support payment.
Driving your car backwards. We used to live in New York, man. Brothers driving up the side street. They never drive on the highway, bro. How you? It took you 2.5 hours to get to you. Man, driving backward, driving on a side street. Man, who want to live their life like that? Come on, bro. Can't even get a right job. They garnish your check when you get a check. I just the gentleman group, our little 10 to 13-year-old boys, man. When I showed them that, a guy that had 3 children, and young guy started out 15, 16, 17, by the time he 21, 22 with 3 kids, I show them the paycheck, and once they get past FICA, what's the FICA score? Then they look at the child 1, child 2, child 3, the child support, and they say, and then I say, okay, I teach them what net and gross is. Mr. Haki, what happened to the gross? It went down to the net. I'm trying to tell you, they say they took all their money. You got the little boy in the back. Man, they ain't gonna never had no sex.
Wow.
They
Wow.
get scared when they see what is gonna happen to them financially. And these guys having 2 or 3 kids, and they have them quick. They have them quick. They might, especially if they got them by 2 different girls. They can have 3 babies in a year and a half.
Right.
It's like, with all these girls they can have babies just like that. So it's a responsibility that they have. You can't run away from. Having a child, there's more responsibilities that we can't, force. There's emotional responsibilities we can't force, but that financial responsibility, they can force that.
Well, the thing is, you're forced to grow up fast. You're forced to deal with reality in a different kind of way. Especially in this day and time. I mean, it was a little different when you and I were younger, but now, man, it's a totally different world. And even at a younger age, man, they just so much is just thrown at them. So their perspective is all about the fast life, and very little foundation, I think. I mean, that's just my own personal opinion. And I mean, I just can't phantom. I was at my cousin's. I was in Atlanta a couple of months ago, and I was at my cousin's table when he had his two kids there, and I said to them, one is just going off to college. She's a freshman this year, and the other one is in 11th grade. And of course, when I said this, they looked at me like I was crazy. And I said, you know what? I said, I just cannot imagine growing up being a child in this day and time. And I wasn't saying it in negative. I was just saying that trying to, and imagining how I grew up with the village and understanding what the village is now. I said, I just can't phantom growing up now. It's just, to me, it's scary. It's just scary to me. It's just scary, it's just scary because there's just so much thrown on a child that it's almost like you're not allowed to be a child and have that innocence where you can grow up and just laugh and joke and be happy.
Man, I done caught so many kids having sex all over the place, man. But it's like when I talk to a lot of women in this field that I work with, and I always press on them that they have to do much better job than what they're doing with a lot of these young girls, because I work with the boys, so mainly work with the boys, but I have to work with so many young women now because they're not having these conversations that they should have with a lot of these women. And the young women have so much control with these young boys. You know what I mean? They have so much control. And like they can't, like if a young boy still can convince a girl, let me just stick the tip in and I take it. If they are still allowing these boys to use little dumbass, ways to get them to have unprotected sex, and they got condoms now, and it's not about the feel so much now. That shit, they got what they call liquid condoms. They so thin, they like liquid water. So but psychologically, when you have young girls tell me, Haki, if he want to wear a condom with me, that tells me he dirty or he either think I'm dirty.
Wow.
Why? If he, because this is what they're saying. If he my man.
Wow. Okay.
If he my man, but he shouldn't have to wear no condom. They're like they married or something. Like if he my man, he shouldn't have to wear a condom because I ain't doing nothing. But why would he need to wear a condom?
And I know the answer to the question, but I'm going to ask it anyway. I'm going to ask this question anyway. If I'm a parent and my child is thinking that way, then as a parent, I'm not doing my job if my child mentality is that way. There's something wrong, which I am not teaching my child the reality of the basic principles what I'm saying. Of life.
They're not, a lot of them not doing it. And, you remember Rico Suave. Now, right. That's the problem with a lot of these young girls nowadays. Like Rico Suave, this young boy brought 3 girls to my office. You know the story, but people listen to this might not know. 3 girls. One was his girlfriend. The other was all their friends. The 2 had babies by him, but the girlfriend didn't. They had a foursome, and the girlfriend was the only one that didn't get pregnant. Well, they had several foursomes. So this was a normal thing for them, having sex together, and 2 of them get pregnant and the girlfriend doesn't. But she said, well, that's my man. That's my poppy. So that's my man. So her mentality was like a bottom bitch, like a pimp, the bottom hoe. Like, I'm the bottom hoe. Chuck, I was in my mind, I'm saying to myself, this is the most dangerous mindset. Man, foursomes? Man, when we was young thinking about a foursome, we were thinking about trying to get one. These people, man, it was a big deal that we got some from one girl. These kids talk about threesomes, foursomes, like it's nothing. And these are not 30-year-old. These are teens, 19, 20, 21. We call him Rico Suave because he thought that it was all about that. He had no job. He had no car. The only one of the three had a job was his girlfriend, because she quickly said, I got a job, because I asked him, how many of y'all working? So you talking about raising up, look at the 12-year-old we had, 12-year-old boy, 12-year-old
Right.
girl.
Right.
They look like they were 10 years old.
Right.
I asked the young man how he feel about being a father. He looked at me like, what?
He's like, well, wait a minute. Can we talk about what I'm gonna get for Christmas first?
Yeah, he was like, what you mean, a father? I said, you the father. You the baby father. Oh yeah, right.
I mean, he's 12.
So
12. You'd be
yeah,
like, well,
so you
yeah,
talking about the way these kids grow up, it's just, if the parents don't think that they have to step it up, then they lost. Because like I said before, we grew up, man, to see a Playboy magazine, you had to go to your uncle's and look under his bed.
right. And
Right
then you had to go
now,
hide
they
to
can
go
see
and peep it.
full act.
Peep and look at it.
Full act. I busted with these little boys that wanted to be in the gentleman class, but we was interviewing all of them, and a couple of them were talking about one of the boys said, they were talking about the top 10 porn stars. That's what they were looking at, the top 10.
Wow.
And guess what guess what one of the little
I want to
boys
know who
said
the
when the
top
other one
10.
said that. Listen, guess what the other one said? The
What?
little smart ass, the smart one. He said, well, what you talk about? You talk about black, white, Hispanic, with top 10 of which one? I was like, the top 10 of porn stars, and they break it down by nationalities.
Wow. Woo. Well, that's what I meant when I was at my cousin's table. When I was talking about how when we grew up, we was just it's scary, man. It's scary, but more
They
importantly,
talk open too. So the parents need to, if they don't think that with technology and just the social aspect of how these kids grow up, if parents don't think that they need to step it up big time, and you got a lot of parents just closing their eyes. They like, it's not gonna happen to mine. I hope it don't happen to mine. I'm
wow.
telling you, when you have 10, 11-year-old boys talking about top 10 porn stars, the nationalities, and one little boy said, I like Asian. He said, oh, you got the, if you can't find it, just go up under foreign.
Okay.
Man, Chuck, I didn't even know that. I didn't even know that, man. I wouldn't let him know that, but I was like, what the hell?
Wow.
I didn't even know that, bro. I didn't
Wow.
even know that. And these little boys, and they were saying it matter of factly, like it was like, look, I know. And the other kids was looking at a couple of the other ones like, yeah, they know. And I'm wondering where their parents are.
Right.
I'm
Yeah.
wondering where their parents are.
Yeah, that's just like
It's
I'll share a
desensitizing
quick
the
story.
kids when they can see full sexual acts. Like I said, we would be sweating just to look at a Playboy Bunny magazine.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I'll
You know
share
what
this
I mean?
quick. Yeah, I'll share this quick story with you. This was some years ago when a friend of mine was having a talent contest, and this little girl, Haki, she was maybe 7, and she came out with her little thing, and she was twerking and doing her little thing and jerking and all this right here, and I'm not kidding. Everybody in the room was just looking like they had this stunned look on their face. So when the MC came up to her when she was done, he even had this look, and he said, so where did you learn that? And she said, just like, my mama. And the key, her mama was over there like this right here. That's my baby. And everybody was looking like, Like,
That's a shame,
I'm
bro.
serious. Everybody was
That
looking like there is a pole in this child's future.
in near
But hey,
future,
hey,
in the
hey,
near
but
future,
but Hakeem, the
probably
other
got
part
one
of
at
it
the
too.
house.
No, but the other part of it too. The father was sitting there and he had the pimp hat on and the suit, and he was sitting there like, yeah, that's my little 7-year-old daughter. And it was just, I mean, just sit there, and I'm not lying. The whole time she was doing her little act, everybody was just sitting there with their mouth open, like, and they couldn't believe that this girl was twerking and jerking and doing that little booty thing, and the mom was
Yeah,
sitting there
she
like,
get cheers for that. And other, it might not have been there, but she get cheers like a mother cheer at the house or whatever, and little parties. She get cheers for that. So psychologically, she gonna associate her body with something good, or not just her body, but what she's doing with it. Like she's gonna get attention from that. She's not
right,
gonna
oh
get
yeah,
attention for her brains,
oh
but
yeah, 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 yeah,
she's
yeah,
gonna get
yeah.
attention. She's gonna learn that, and she's
Yeah,
gonna
we
get
were we
that.
were
Once she
we
gets
were
that
just
attention,
talking about some of the you go into the classic and some of the stuff that you see out there, and even this young girl walked by, and I won't even tell you what she had on, but the way that she was dressed, even a couple of the young men, and I'm not kidding, they just stopped and looked at her, and they just did like this right here.
yeah,
And it's just like you wonder the self-esteem and what's that, and like from not having a father or something, where you look and she comes out like that and she's looking for the attention, and you and I both know what that means, what that, well, I
yeah.
mean, we won't get into that, but it's just, you just look, and it's just like,
We got a
wow,
lot of work to do, bro. We got
yeah,
we got a lot of work to do because
right.
these young women are end up having these children, and the young men, it's like I said, if you serve it up like pancakes, these guys just gonna get the syrup and they gonna eat it every time.
Yeah, ain't no if and ands or but about that. But listen, believe it or not, man, it's been an hour, and I know that you said there was a couple of things that you did want to talk about, but we did cover some good stuff. Before we leave, is there anything that you want to take note of to let us know about anything that's coming up?
No, I just want our new website to be up in another couple weeks. Should be up definitely between December 1st and 15th. It will be up. So I want people to look out for our new website. Um, Also, our Giving Tuesday is tomorrow. Um, I'm sure that is this live or is this going to be taped, Joe?
No, well, no, I mean, it's well, I mean, the show airs at 7 on Mondays.
Okay, okay. So yeah, if people want to go on our website, youngfathersofcentralflorida.com, and support our Giving Tuesday, they can do that. And just look out for our site. Just look out for our new site, which will be up between December 1st and December 15th, and it'll have a lot more information on it, what's coming up.
Okay.
All right.
Well, I want to thank you again. You're always very informative, man. You a brother that there's a special place for you in heaven. I tell you that, and I tell my aunt that, because special people, God gives you a certain spirit, and you got to have that in order for you to deal with what you do, because everybody can't do
Well,
what you
I'm
do.
looking forward to us doing the show up there.
Okay, and just to let you know, I did speak with the gentleman from Quincy. I'm waiting to call him back because the last time I talked to him, they were hit so bad by the hurricane. He said that they didn't have power or anything at the time. So I'm going to give him about another week or so. And
Well, let me stop you right there. Unfortunately, he had open heart. He was scheduled to have open heart surgery. I'm
oh,
not sure exactly when it happened because I haven't been able to reach him, but I think it's supposed to happen last week.
okay,
So, I kind of taking him off my radar for now because I know
okay,
he's gonna be in recovery. So I just let you know if he don't get back to you, it's not because he doesn't want to.
okay. I got you, man.
All
Okay,
right.
well, I'm glad
I've
I
been
brought it
trying to
up, man,
reach him.
because now I
Yeah,
know.
I'm
I
glad
also
you
know to
brought
put
it
him on.
up.
Yeah, I also know to put him on my prayer list as well. So, you know,
Yes. for sure.
All right. Thank you so much, man. You know, you're very informative. I really appreciate you. And also,
Thank you,
more
bro.
importantly, too, you're always looking for volunteers. You're always looking for volunteers,
Always looking for volunteers. Yep.
mentors,
Women and
mentors.
men. Yep, women and men, because we got as we spend a lot of this show talk about the young women too. So we always looking for female volunteers to help us out with our fathers, children's mothers. So we always
What's
looking for all volunteers.
what's your website address?
Youngfathersofcentralflorida.com.
All right.
Youngfathersofcentralflorida.com. All right.
All right. With that being said, any information that you need, just go to the site. If you would like to give some of your time mentoring, go to youngfathersofcentralflorida.com, and you can get the information, contact information. Surely appreciate it. With that
All right,
being said,
brother. You have a
all
good
right.
night.
Thank you so
All
very
right.
much, bro. All right. All right.
All right.
That's
Peace.
all right. That's a Haki Nkrumah. He is the CEO, the founder of Young Fathers of Central Florida. They've been around for some time now, and they do some great work here in the Central Florida area, throughout Florida. So they're growing, they're making a difference. And if you listen at all to Haki, you know that he is a very passionate person. He's good at what he does, and it takes a special person like him to. It takes a special person. It's just something that God gives you, which means that you got to have patience, and you got to believe, and you got to believe in people, and that's one of the things that makes a difference. Once those kids or people know that you care and that you believe in them, and then you have jumped a big hurdle. Well, you've been checking out the Journey 2020, where we come to you every Monday at 7 p.m. at www.thejourney2020.com. And we also are on Facebook and Twitter and Periscope. Make sure that you subscribe to us on YouTube, like us on Facebook. And if you have a show idea, you can always email us and contact us. And with that being said, make sure that you check out Youth Central Sports every Wednesday night at 11 p.m. at www.youthcentralsports.com. I'm Charles Morris. Enjoy the rest of your week. You be blessed, and hope you had a happy Thanksgiving.